Great. You talked a lot of times about Saksham Haryana. Now that's something that you did while you were in the CM office, and then you continued in the education department to kind of work on that program. So just again for context, Saksham Haryana was a education transformation program focused on improving learning outcomes of students in the schools. So across states and for many years in Haryana also, there's been a lot of effort around inputs, that what's the right inputs that should go to the government school system. But what Saksham Haryana did was really to bring a focus on outcomes, which is the ultimate objective of the government running a school system. So a little bit about that. What was different in Saksham Haryana? How did you energize the entire system to work towards learning outcomes?
Before Saksham Haryana, I would like to take this opportunity to mention about one individual who has really shaped up my life, and that is the principal of the government school where I studied in class 11, 12. So
in Delhi?
In Delhi. So I was brought up in Delhi. I did all my education in Delhi. So I used to study in government boys senior secondary school, Moti Bagh 1, which is not very far away from IIT Delhi, where I subsequently went from there. So this gentleman, Mr. Ayodhya Das, he was an institution in himself as a principal. So I consider myself fortunate. I could have gone to any private school, but I really consider myself lucky that I got to study in this school for 2 years and saw this Mr. Ayodhya Das fellow as a principal working there for 2 years with full commitment, dedication. He used to come, he was the first one to come in the school at around 6 a.m. and he would leave around 7 p.m. in the evening. So this particular government school was not only excelling in education, but also in sports. Our football team used to win, year after year, we used to win Limca Review Cup, and there was another cup, Youth Review Cup and Limca Soccer tournaments. We used to win those tournaments. And mind you, majority of people coming to government school Moti Bagh at that point of time were coming from lower middle class. They were very poor. And you know, to excel in sports, you need to have good diet also. But I still remember, of course, he is no more, but Mr. Ayodhya Das used to make special provisions to provide books to the meritorious students and the appropriate diet to the students who were actually players in playing football. So I think this one gentleman has really inspired me to do, you know, good public service. Subsequently, I joined the IAS. So when we were thinking of in fact, in my early part of my career, I was secretary of Haryana Board of School Education. So there we could do some reforms in the examination area, but education was not our forte. We were not there to teach student in classroom. So we used to feel frustrated. Of course, we reformed the examination system. We made it a very clean kind of system in which copying or cheating we really, done away with in a big way by using ICT also. But then the important thing here was we were not able to actually improve the education standards or the quality of education in schools. So one, Mr. Ayodhya Das, then my experience of working as secretary of Haryana Board of School Education. So these were my things which were there in my head. So subsequently, when I was working in Chief Minister's office, at that point of time, there was one QIP, Quality Improvement Program, which was functional with support from Addl Foundation. So what we did was, by the time we had experience of inculcating competitive spirit in different districts, in different departments, to improvise the performance of district under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister. So we came up with this concept of Saksham Haryana with Vineet, you and Prachi coming from different backgrounds. And then we designed this program in which of course, as you said, there was focus on outcomes in addition to inputs, but I would add here that there's lots of focus on processes and outputs as well, because processes had to be refined, these had to be reformed. आपको देखना पड़ेगा उनकी competencies पे ही जोर नहीं था. So unless you really focus on competencies of the students who are studying in elementary or secondary classes, how can he really make the difference? And of course, हर कोई बोलता है road based learning है, हर कोई रट्टा लगा के exams देते हैं. So this had to change. So the focus for the first time, I would say, was on competencies which had to be, given to the children. But before going to students, it was very important to take the teaching cadre, more than 1 lakh teachers who were studying in government schools, who were teaching government schools, to understand these competencies. And then understanding the competencies, we used to have those lists, plus training them well about the pedagogy. So we together worked on it. We made multiple videos which were actually made by champion teachers. So these videos which really taught the teachers how to teach in classroom, those were very, very important. So those kinds of resources were created. And then I would say that there was focus on remediation. So the students who were in higher classes but didn't have the base to be actually deserving that particular class. So there were learning methods, remediation, so that they come to their grade level. And then subsequently, there was material which was created for children. And then the effort was to assess them on a regular basis. One was the institutionalized system, that is to have bi-monthly exams, which were done by the school systems itself. And then by involving the third party, we created this feeling of competitiveness by having this Saksham Ghoshna, wherein we did this gamification in which we said that one particular education block, there are 119 education blocks in Haryana, we said one particular block will be declared as Saksham if more than 80% of the students are actually at their grade level competence. We started with the mathematics and Hindi language, but subsequently we started doing other subjects as well. And of course, the results are there to see for all of us. We have very good comparison between NAS 2017 National Achievement Survey and then subsequently 2021. So what we see here is the results which came out in 2021. If we look at the results of class 10 and class 8. So these are the kids who worked under this Saksham Haryana framework for almost 2.5 to 3 years.
Before COVID.
Before COVID struck us very, very badly. So what we see is the performance of class 8 and class 10 students in Haryana improved a lot between these two NAs.
Yes.
So in fact, we improved our ranks, interstate ranks by say 15 ranks.
Yeah,
So we were amongst top 3 or 5 positions in the state. Interestingly, it is very easy to improve the educational level standards for class 3 and class 5. Class 3 is the easiest because there is not enough to cover which they had missed. So, but here we see is the performance in NAS 21 was not, of course it improved over the earlier NAS assessment, but it was not very good in comparison to the class 8 or class 10. So these children in class 3, they were not exposed to Saksham Haryana. So this clearly establishes the value of having something like Saksham Haryana. Of course, it is now called Nipun Bharat, Nipun Haryana. So it is very important that we really have some kind of competitive spirit so that people come forward, they support it. I distinctly remember during those days, Saksham Haryana, the teachers, they were actually coming to teach in schools during national holidays on weekends. And there was a scenario in which people used to allege that teachers are not teaching even on weekdays. So there was huge shift in the drive of teachers who were actually...
I think that the whole concept with that a teacher, if provided with the right tools and given the right goal and somewhere motivated to work towards that goal. The thing that Saksham Ghoshna did was to say in some sense that your glory is in your hands, you do well, you teach your students, you get them to be at grade level, and you self-nominate. The concept of what you're saying at the block level was to self-nominate. A block says, I am ready, I believe that we have gotten there. Then a third party would come and do a sample-based assessment. If it's found that they've actually gotten there in terms of learning outcomes, then it will be celebrated, declared as a Saksham block, a lot of celebration around it, everyone will be felicitated. Media reports, you can take pride in what you've achieved. And once all the blocks in a district will become Saksham, then the district will be declared as a Saksham district. So this gamification, and we saw something like this also happen in Swachh Bharat, for instance.
Absolutely.
ODF. So ODF, open defecation free district, open defecation free state, before that open defecation free panchayat. So this gamification is a very cross-sectoral kind of a concept.
Basic thing which can be inculcated,
which really drives the system actors, motivates them to work towards the outcome.